Good morning, everybody. So here is your Tuesday business meeting update. We started off by welcoming Nicole to Puyallup, Maine. So when you see a new friendly face, which you will in the next couple of weeks, make sure you say hello and give her a warm welcome. Pam Malagi was here from American Home Shield, and she was talking about a new service that is included in the existing policy, and it is a rekeying service. The buyer can have up to 6 keyholes rekeyed and receive 4 keys for only service fee of $75. That's really good. If you've been out there and doing pricing on that, that's a little bit of a money savings there. So that's a good reason for buyers to keep considering American Home Shield, and it's another reason for sellers to be providing American Home Shield because the buyer will be even additionally interested. So if you need more information, I have Pamela Loggie's phone number for you. She'd be happy to chat with you. The other discussion that we had is Tracy spoke on behalf of Priority Lending. Apparently Tina is out with the flu, so send her good wishes too. And Tracy was talking about how we're going to have some more fluctuation regarding interest rates. Tomorrow the Fed's meeting, so stay tuned. We anticipate that rates could go up as high as a quarter point. We went over the finance addendum and talked about low appraisals. The other piece on the finance addendum that we discussed is the seller's right to give notice of termination. I think it's really important that we are making sure our sellers are educated regarding their rights under the financing contingency. So if you recall, the automatic time frame is 30 days that the buyer has to get their financing in place. Anytime thereafter, the seller can give notice requesting the buyer to waive their financing contingency. When buyer receives that notice, they have 3 days to think about it. If they decide not to waive their financing contingency, the seller can subsequently, anytime thereafter that 3 safe days, they can terminate the transaction. So the reason I bring this up is I'm hearing more stories about sellers that are having deals fall apart at the last moment and expecting to be able to keep the earnest money. Well, because we haven't been talking to the seller perhaps much about the fact that they can change that 30-day time frame to potentially a 20-day time frame and give the seller a little bit more leverage in the course of the purchase and sale agreement and discuss at that point about their rights or entitlement to that earnest money. I just think that it's important we're making sure that we're having that conversation. So I'm just bringing that to the forefront of your memory. So when you're doing presentations, those sellers are well informed on both of those points, their rights to terminate and the fact regarding their entitlement to earnest money. So back to the low appraisal piece. I brought in the 22A in, which is the low appraisal notice. So with the revision of the financing addendum form, one of seller's options, when buyer delivers notice of low appraisal, and keep in mind that that notice of low appraisal has to be accompanied by the appraisal, seller then has 10 days to make a decision about what they're going to do. You know they can get a reappraisal, which we know that's not going to happen. You know that they could lower their sales price. They could also lower their sales price not to the appraised value, but to a value that's lower than the asking price, but not as low as the appraised value, asking the buyer to pay the difference. Now, the buyer is not obligated to do so. Once the seller makes that request to the buyer has 3 days to decide if they're going to move forward with that. If the buyer does not say yes within those 3 days, then the transaction does terminate and the buyer is entitled to receive their earnest money. So take a moment to study that extra verbiage in the finance addendum 22A and pay attention to the notice that goes along with that 22AN. The finance addendum says that you may use the AN. I recommend strongly that you do use the AN. It flows like the 35R does for the inspection contingency. Another subject matter is, if you have not yet had your next training, please get in those classes. You will be glad that you did. You're going to find out what's going on. You're going to find out how it's going to enhance your business, lead capture opportunities, how to personalize your website, all these great things. In addition to how easy Property Tracker is and different applications, ways that you can use it. So we have a class that's still open for, the 16th in the afternoon. If you need to register, please call the office. Sierra would be more than happy to register you, as would Cheryl. And other than that, I have nothing else for you, so just go make it a great week. And I'm here if you need me. Bye.